in our program. So we can start. Hi, Hanna, how are you? Maxi?
Hello.
Hi. Okay. So thank you. We were just discussing about our previous different issues. So can I just request our intern, Procheta, to start the announcement?
Okay. Dear participants, this is Procheta Poroma Khan, intern of eSheBee Enterprises. Welcome to the interactive session with former graduate researcher of eSheBee Bangladesh. The session will be chaired and moderated by Mohammod Mosharrof Hossain, the founder and team leader of eSheBee and the inventor of eSheBee model. We have two observers, Ms. Mohsina Ashraf, associate entrepreneur of eSheBee program and lead consultant of triskelever. And we have Mr. Mozahidul associate multi-stakeholder platform, eSheBee program. Today, our today's resource person is Ms. Hanna Geary, former graduate researcher of eSheBee Bangladesh. Hanna Geary worked on the research project eSheBee, working with entrepreneurs' families, collaboratively conducted by eSheBee Enterprises and University of Edinburgh. Her interest in these two projects originated from her childhood in China, which has already given her an affinity with Asia. She knows that the world of Asian countries and cultures and systems for doing things are different compared to the UK. And she massively enjoys experiencing these cultural differences. She is also interested in the provision and effect of entrepreneurial training for economically impoverished groups as a means for raising their choices and living standards. Her parents researched a minority language while in China, so they often travel to mountainous villages to live alongside local people there. This was a very formative experience, exposing her to different and materially much more basic ways of life. The desire to help people while there, like this, who struggle to subsist, let alone prosper, caused her to choose a master's in international development in the first place. This is why Hanna really wishes to learn more about different methods available to assist economic improvement of underprivileged groups. As a woman, Hanna is also particularly interested in the welfare opportunities afforded to women in societies. This led her to write about Chimananda Adichie's narrative, Give Voice to Richly Diverse Female Experiences in Nigeria, for her undergraduate dissertation. Her work seeks to challenge and extend the definitions and perceptions of women, which was inspiring to study and increased her interest in women's empowerment. Whilst Hanna does not have much practical experience in development work or research, and while this degree has been extremely eye-opening in terms of risks and in the development practice, she is determined to pursue it as a career. This is because of similar say that until a better alternative to development is found, being involved in development work is better than doing nothing at all. Hanna cannot unsee or unknow the poverty she witnessed as a child, so she cannot be content with things the way they are and want to pursue change. Thus, she is extremely thankful for development theory she has been exposed to in her master's courses, which have increased her awareness of the complexity of this field and have made her excited to get involved and see how what development looks like in practice. Today, we have 10 eSheBee research fellows. The fellows are Nargis Akhtar, Hafiza Akhtar Rani, Sharmina, Nivedita Paul, Zarin Sultana Tonika, Umur Redha. And in the second phase, scholarships are being given to 4 more women of entrepreneurs of Bangladesh. With this, a total of 10 women entrepreneurs got the opportunity of this fellowship. The 4 new women are Julia Mardi, Arfin Mim, Adrita Tanha Taika, and Saida Afrida Akhtar. Thank you.
Thank you, Procheta. Thank you very much. I hope that about the introduction of Hanna Geary is very clear to us. So welcome, Hanna Geary, to Bangladeshi programs. You have been here for a couple of weeks, and I hope that you enjoyed researching with us. So now, may I request Hanna Geary to express your situation and just narrate how did you work in Bangladesh and how it started and how you finished your works for eSheBee and the University of Edinburgh. Hanna Geary, over to you.
Thank you very much for your introduction, Procheta, and yeah, yours too, Mosharrof. Thanks for your welcome. I do have a couple of slides in a PowerPoint. Would you like me to share those?
Yes, you can share now. It's allowed. You go to share or you can send it to me.
Yeah, okay. I'll share screen.
Yeah.
One moment. Okay, well, I just have just a few slides, just a short bit to show you all.
Just a minute. I would like to request all the participants to mute your audio, and you will be unmuted when you will be talking. Okay, thank you, please.
Yeah, so I came in spring 2019 with 2 other research students from Edinburgh University. And yeah, I was amazed. Like, Bangladesh is so unique and colorful and very different to anywhere that I've been before. Even though I grew up in China, it was really unique and yeah, a very enjoyable experience. And just these are some photos from some visits. The one on the left obviously is at a tea garden, and then on the right it's visiting one of the women's houses, and just, yeah, the kinds of work that women do in Bangladesh in the rural places. Yeah, either housework or working in the tea gardens, that kind of thing. So I thought I would share a little bit about what I had to do, what I did as for my research. So first of all, I had to do a lot of reading to get a base knowledge of different issues and topics related to what I was researching. So trying to gather knowledge and insight from people who have already researched before me. And that way I could also build a bibliography for my dissertation and add their knowledge, add on to their knowledge maybe as I researched. Then also I had to find out what my methodology would be. So that was a process. When we first arrived, we still weren't entirely sure what it would look like to do our research with Mosharrof in Bangladesh. So we had to think about what is the best way to gather our information. So so what I chose to do in the end was just to visit the women to interview them, for a couple of times, and then finally also just to spend time with them without an interpreter as well, just to build trust and relationship with them, and hopefully, hoping that it would all help me to gather information. Then also, it was quite tricky to find an interpreter. I guess none of you will have this problem. To find someone qualified, someone the woman would trust. So actually also finding a woman to interpret for me, I found that quite important, because it was all women that I was interviewing. And then as time went on and I asked questions, I created an outline for my written work. So thinking about how I would break it into chapters, what are the chapters that I will talk about? And then I also had to think about what I will ask the woman. What do I actually want to know, and how do I ask it in a way that will give me the most helpful information? And finally, compiling that data. So typing it up and comparing it from the different women and looking for patterns. And also throughout the process, writing about what I had experienced, what I had heard, so that I could build on my own knowledge as I went along, because it always changes. Like what I thought I would write about, it was never the same at the end. Like it will always change through the process. So just keep writing along the way. I think that's a helpful thing to do. These are some photos of eSheBee activities, a visit and sewing and doing. Was this the their dream board, Mosharrof? I think maybe.
The vision board, vision board exercise.
Yes. Yeah. So, and then just finally, I thought I would share some things that I wish I had done differently, or I wish I could have changed. So I think that I struggled with having a clear purpose and just clarity throughout the writing process and in my work. And I think this is key. So I think having your question or your title for the dissertation or your research work is really crucial, because that way you will not be distracted along the way. You will always know what information you need to find. And even if you engage, because you will always have so much information from the interviewees, like so much you could ask them. So by having a clear purpose, you can always stick to the main point and gather your data that is actually going to be helpful for your writing. And I think that I really found this difficult, because I was very interested in the women and their lives. And so it was really difficult not to just spend time with them and get to know them as people, which is good as well, but not really the purpose for which I was there, unfortunately. I needed to be more strict with myself and have the purpose at the forefront, I think. And as I said as well, what you start with, it always changes, and questions produce more questions. So I guess, actually it is quite difficult to have a clear purpose, because what you thought, the assumptions that you come with can change, and then you might have to change your main purpose as well. So I think in general, it can be difficult to have clarity as you work on your research. And that's why the second point, I wish I had more time, because if I had more time, I could have maybe had better clarity. I could have worked on my main purpose for longer, so that I was clearer in my own mind what I wanted to find out from the women. And that way, my writing could have also been more clear. So I also wish I had more time to understand the cultural context, because that takes time, and also to build trust with the women. And and to learn Sylheti. I think that would have been ideal if I could have spoken the language. And also, yeah, this is the first point that I made, to figure out my question, my title for my research properly. Yeah, and also to standardize my questions. So I found that the way I chose my questions for the women was determined by the questions that I asked them before. So I would just ask them lots of questions. And then as I went along, I would think, oh, that was a good question. I'll ask that one again. But then I think it would have been better if I had asked all of the women the same questions throughout. But obviously, again, that is quite difficult, as the research process takes time, and it takes time to figure out why you're there, what you're there for. And also more time to write more drafts, and also to rest between the drafts. I found that because I had such a limited time to write out my dissertation, it was difficult to have a clear mind, to think through what I had learned already. So if I had taken a break between writing, I think I could have engaged with a fresh mind, and that would have been more helpful in the long term, in the end. I think, yeah, it would have been great to go back and see a longer term impact of eSheBee work with the women who left eSheBee or who got married and joined a new family, and to compare their experience and their worldview and their thought processes with women who have never engaged with eSheBee. I think that would have been really useful, and to be able to see the difference between eSheBee women and non-eSheBee women, which I didn't have time to do. My focus was only on eSheBee women. Yeah, and I think the last point, I could have talked with my supervisor more. I think I should have, because I find it really helpful to process externally, so to talk about what I am thinking, and that helps. And especially if I was sharing it with someone as experienced and knowledgeable as Julie, I think that would have been a really helpful process. But because my time was short, I also felt like I did not have time to talk through everything with her. But I think that was a mistake. So I think that would be some advice, to speak with someone else who is interested in this area and knowledgeable, and talk through your ideas and work process. Finally, I just have these photos, and that is everything I came to share. The photo on the bottom right, with the sun on the paddy field, I think that was my favorite memory of Bangladesh. I think being on a motorcycle at sunset, when the sun is on all the water all around and you're just driving through the beautiful countryside, that's my favorite memory. Yeah, that's it.
I also forgot to mention in my intro that Hanna Geary worked in the area of Khulna, eSheBee project run in collaboration with WAFFH Enterprise. Sorry, I forgot to mention this. Okay.
Okay, it's okay. Thank you very much, Hanna Geary. And I know that it's very short time. I noticed you, and it would be very, very great. It would be great if we could see the drawing of your portraits. You have done a lot. There are a lot of pictures you have drawn in your notebook, and you drawn the portrait of Rupa and the different families and the counseling I did in the tea garden of Rabea, like this. There are a lot of pictures. So if I can get it, I will share. I can share with in the screen later on. So now may I request all the participants, so you can raise hand to ask any question to Hanna Geary. If the basis of your question would be actually 2 or 3 things. Very first, one thing, as you have read about the profile of Hanna Geary, and secondly, you have read the report of the Hanna Geary, and thirdly, you got the announcement. During the announcement, Procheta introduced you about the background of Hanna Geary, and fourthly, the presentation of Hanna Geary, what she did. So based on all of these, you may ask any question to Hanna Geary, if anybody who want to ask question first. You can raise hand. If you cannot raise hand, you may unmute and just ask the question. And secondly, if you cannot ask the question in English, you can ask the question in Bangla and I can translate it, or Procheta can translate it. Hafiza Rani, you raised hand. Okay, you just ask your question.
At first, thank you very much, Hanna Geary, for her special presentation. I have already known her experience, research experience. According her presentation, I asked a question: how do we can improve our research skill? We know it is very important, vital important for us which enable us find out more resource, more information from interviewer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Hafiza Rani. I think Hanna can note it down, and we may take a few questions more, then she can speak. So then, who's next? Who want to ask any question more? Nargis, do you have any question?
Yes.
Oh, sure. Can you unmute your camera?
Okay.
You don't want to show Hanna your face?
Yes. Oh. Hello, Hanna.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, I have a 3 questions to Hanna Geary. Wow. First question is, what are the things you need to pay more attention to in order to become a good quality researcher? Okay. 2, what we do will liberate the women of our country. And third question, we came to Bangladesh and collected a lot of information. Have you ever had any problems? Is there a specific problem that we can air? Thank you.
Okay, you have a lot of questions, 3 questions. So I think we have got 4 questions. So can Hanna just talk a little bit on these 4 questions? Hanna Geary, over to you.
Thank you very much. Those are really good questions. And I don't really feel qualified to answer them. But so was the first one was about improving research. Is that right? Improving, Hafiza, can you maybe remind me what exactly you...
Hafiza Rani, okay.
Yeah. Is it about doing research well, or?
Hafiza Rani, did you ask the question about doing research well or being a researcher well? What is this? Can you clarify? I think she asked about doing research well.
I asked the question how to improve research skill.
Oh, research skill, how to, okay. How to develop the research skills.
Okay, yeah. I think reading is one thing, definitely. Reading articles, research that other people have done, that is really helpful for knowing how your own writing should be, and what ways you can present your findings. I think, yeah, so reading other people's work that maybe similar topics to you as well is really helpful, not only for the information that they give, but also for how they write it, how they present their research. I think another thing is just also to do it, to do research and to get feedback. Maybe like, yeah, for me, it was helpful to have my supervisor tell me, you know, if I was doing a good job and give me ideas or feedback. So like maybe just writing, just trying to write and trying to ask your questions and do your interviews. And as you go along, you will learn from your own mistakes as well. And you will also, if you get feedback, that can be really helpful for improving. But I think reading other people's work and just doing it yourself, I think those are probably the simplest but most effective ways to improve as a researcher. I don't know, I hope that helps. And then Nagis, nice to see you. I think, so the first one you said it was what to pay more attention to in research, is that right? So that's a great question. I think, yeah, I think again, like what I said before, paying more attention to the main purpose of your research. What is the question? So I don't know how much research everyone has done here, but I found that when I approach like my research work, having a big question, this question that I want to find the answer for, that helps me to think of questions to ask the women. So like, yeah, my question was how the women, how their families can help support them in doing social enterprise, and if that the model that eSheBee has, if it's effective in that way. So like just having a very clear focus on that question and not being distracted along the way. I think, yeah, I think that's what I would say, just paying more attention to making sure the questions I ask the women actually help answer my big question for my main research topic, you know. And the second one, what would liberate women in Bangladesh? Yeah, I think probably education. Yeah, and I think, yeah, a lot of it's very complex, isn't it? I'm not sure I could answer that as well as you yourselves could answer that. The thing that I can think of is probably education. Yeah, but we did find that, you know, having their own income was very empowering for women. So being able to have a small business and earn some money of their own was very good for them to feel a sense of independence and power and some you know, their own influence. So yeah, I think I'll leave that there.
Okay, thank you, Hanna. Being sick, actually, Nargis asked 3 questions. So, thank you. I hope that Afrin Meme, you unmuted. So, you wanna ask any question?
Yes, sir. Hi, Hanna. I am Afrin Meme.
Hi.
2 questions. First of all, first one is, when you come into Bangladesh in 2019, then in your own perspective, what is the first thing you think that we should change or we should work for it? And the second one is, how can you motivate yourself?
How can I what? Sorry?
Motivate.
For what purpose? Motivate.
In research purpose.
Sorry?
In research purpose.
Oh, okay. So, what was my first impression of like Bangladesh and like, yeah. Yeah, I found it quite it was the first Muslim country that I had been to, and I found it quite difficult as a woman actually to be in Bangladesh, not having had this before. So like I found it really difficult to always have to remember to wear a scarf and to not be able to go where I want to go on my own, to not be able to go anywhere on my own. And yeah, I think those were the biggest challenges for me personally. And I understand the complexities of it and that there are good reasons for it as well. But I think some of the reasons for it are have a negative consequence specifically on women. Yeah. So I think, yeah, that's a whole topic that I didn't really cover. Like, obviously, like, wasn't anything to do with my research, but that was a big thing that I struggled with and noticed personally in my time there. And does that answer your question? Was that what you were asking? Or yeah. No? Yeah.
The first answer is clear to me.
Sorry, it's hard to hear you.
Your voice is low, Afrin Meme. Can you raise your voice?
Yeah, obviously. The first answer is clear to me.
Okay, great. Yeah, and motivation. Yeah, I mean, having such a short time in Bangladesh, I think really motivated me and my my classmates, my colleagues, because we did not have very much time to gather our data and to find out what we needed to know in order to write our research. So we were quite motivated, I think, and also motivated by the stories that of the women that I encountered. Like, I think just hearing their stories, finding out about the difficulties that they have to deal with and the challenges that they face from day to day, was very motivating for me to want to write about it and to try and understand how it could be better for them, even however small an impact I could have. But yeah, that helped to motivate me. The women were amazing, very, very strong, and each story, very, very unique. And yeah, so I think those things were motivating.
Thank you. Now, may I request Adrita Tanha Takia? You raised hand to ask questions, so you just ask your question.
Thank you. Hello, Hanna.
Hi.
I don't know if it's related, but I want to ask, if you ever get another chance to come here in Bangladesh, what will be your research topic or content, and what area you will wish to work?
Yeah, great question. I think like what I shared, maybe sort of like going back to the women who have been married and have changed families, and interviewing them again and finding out if their lives are still impacted by their experiences with eSheBee from before, and how, and then also comparing these married women to other married women who never engaged with eSheBee before. I think that's what I would be interested in finding out more about, because, you know, my initial question was about how family can support women in entrepreneurship, and eSheBee's model of being like a family to the woman, and if that's effective. And I think it's hard to tell. It's hard to know if it's effective from just a short time. And also the women that I interviewed were mainly single, unmarried women. But once they get married, that's the crucial turning point, isn't it? In finding out if eSheBee's going to have a long-term impact or not. And because their lives change so drastically when they get married. So I think that's what I would want to research.
Thank you, Hanna. We have very short time. What I have one update to give you, that what you have written in your report about Rabea is very true, but that's why I feel a little bit guilty to give you updates about Rabea, that actually Rabea has got married and her husband came back. Now she is planning to start her venture in her husband's village. So, and that's our success. So I just want to update you on that.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's really exciting.
Thank you. Okay. So now who's for the next question? Do you want to ask more question? Is there anybody of our fellows? Otherwise, we will go to our observers and our guests. Anybody? Farida Akhtar, do you have any question?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Yeah.
I'm Saida Farida. I'm from Habiganj, Bangladesh. I'm a fellow research in eSheBee in Edinburgh University, Scotland. Nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us and give me the valuable time for us. Thank you, ma'am. And we are totally...
You just ask your question, Farida. Okay.
I have just 3 questions. One hand, what was the main problems in researching you was facing in Bangladesh? Main problems. And which skills are very important for us in researching? And what is the international development?
The problems that I faced, I guess, were time limitations and language barriers, I think those were probably the biggest challenges that I can think of. I think those are the main challenges. And then you were asking about research. What was it? Research. The main research skills, is it, that you need? I think really listening to the women's answers, like really trying to understand your interviewees and listening really well. I think that's a really key skill in research. and then being able to, when you come to write, being able to see, to fit it all together, like to use their responses in answering your question in a very clear and purposeful way. Yeah, and then international development, it's a subject which is quite broad. It's a subject I only actually found out about when I was applying for my master's degree. But basically it's kind of, it covers economics and some history, some geography. Like it's about poverty a lot of the time, or inequalities. It's about inequalities in the world and why they exist. Why are there these inequalities that are so disturbing, and how can we approach them? How can we tackle them and try to change them? I think that's what I would say. That's what the subject of international development is.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hanna. Has there anybody else to ask question? Very quick question.
I have one question.
Yes. Yes.
Hello, Hanna. I am Konika, research assistant from eSheBee Enterprise. I have one question, and my question is how we can develop the quality of our research report.
Did you say how can you develop the quality of your research? Is that right?
Konika, can you clarify your question? Did you ask about quality?
Yes.
How to improve the quality of your research?
Research report.
Oh, research report. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good question. I would say getting the simple things right. So just answering that question, making sure you're actually answering the question that you set out to answer. I know it sounds simple, but I found it's actually the most difficult thing to do, to stay on track with your topic and just answer that question, and make your writing very clear. So when I know different people have different writing styles. I'm quite, I like storytelling. So I'm not very focused, and I'm not very succinct. So I maybe talk too long. And when I write for too long. But when you're writing, so it's really important to be succinct, to just tackle the question so that you can be as clear as possible. I think that is really important when you are writing research, and that's the thing that I would want you all to remember. Answer that question, like really engage with that specific research topic that you're trying to do. And each paragraph, each section should always be going back to your original question. Always go back to, how is this point that I'm making answering the question? What is this saying about the original question? Every single paragraph, or yeah, does that make sense? I think that's really important. And obviously then added on to that, having a good base knowledge of other research is really key as well. So understanding how your research fits into the broader research framework, like all the other people who have researched the similar area, that is really helpful in improving the quality of your research.
A very limited time, and we got two hands again. But I think the Nivedita Pal, you didn't have any questions. So can you ask any question? Nivedita Pal, do you have any question?
Sir, I don't have any question. Everyone have asked already.
Okay, thank you very much. And Sayada Farida, you raised hand again. Do you have any more question?
No, sir. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. So now we would like to go to ask our guests, Mohammad Delwar Hussain. He is the assistant professor of the Green Business School of Business. So do you have any question, Delwar Hussain?
Thank you, Mosharrof bhai. Hello, Ms. Hanna. I really appreciate and delighted to see you. I think before me, my preceptor, Dr. Abul Hossain sir is here. So, sir,
no, we will get the opinion of sir later on because he is our senior. We'll ask sir later on. Okay.
Okay.
If you have any
actually, in Bangladesh, we are following preceptor first. Therefore, he is my preceptor. However, thank you very much for the time. Actually, this is afternoon and lunch time, and we all are busy with this shower, taking shower, prayer, lunch. Today, I become lost everything because first time I think maybe some discussion or I don't know what is going on. However, now I really shocked in few sense. Is it Hannah's dissertation like the questions and the answer session, how is going on? I am feeling like a PhD viva is going on. The core question and the deep question are already asked. And I am really confident if Hannah submitted this video footage on the University of Edinburgh, she got her degree, definitely. The questions is very deep and you cannot face such type of question in your exam hall. I believe so.
So all credit goes to the questioner,
really, I am shocked how this question. Actually, the professors, they are asking such type of question. Even my PhD viva was not like such tough. How Savannah just now facing the.
Thank you, Delwar Hussain, Dr. Delwar Hussain.
This is actually true.
Okay, okay, thank you. So I am very happy to hear about this because all the fellows nurtured by eSheBee since last couple of weeks. So I hope that in very near future, if they just start to study more and become much more concentrating, and I hope that in near future they will be, and you will be happy to know that I have one declaration that the first batch of the fellows, they already have written article which is being published in the blog site of London School of Economics, edited by Dr. Julie Huang. So it's very proud of all of us that the grassroots women like Nargis, like Hafiza Rani, like Sharmin, she is not here because her in-laws or somebody is sick. So their articles are being published in the LSE blogs, and all the scholars of the LSE blogs will be reading and getting the information and use as literature. So that is very, that is our happiness, our returns. So this is the example actually how our scholars are not only in the universities, our scholars are in our grassroots, in the heart. So they are living, our scholars are also living in the, sir, please let them allow to get access to you, you scholars more and more. So that's all. Thank you. And now may I request our friend Mozahidul Islam Noyan Bhai. So if you just say something about your opinion, and I know you are sick, so if you just say something, we have very limited time because Hannah has another stuffs to do. So we have like 10 minutes more.
First of all, thank you, Mosharrof bhai. So I hope you all can hearing me.
Yes, you are audible. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, first of all, for inviting me for this such important event. And first of all, I would like to thank Ms. Hanna Geary for her nice presentation and tremendous work she did during 2019 in Bangladesh, and also who asked already very important questions who were the fellows of Hanna's research in Bangladesh. So I currently suffering from some health complication. Therefore, I was about to miss this event, but fortunately I can connect. So I personally enriched from your presentation, and it was really nice that that these issue and this type of issue could be researched from a comprehensive point of view to come out with lasting solutions in favor of our women, and particularly those who are living in the hard-to-reach areas and suffering from multiple poverty cycles. So my very last point is, so since we are very poverty-prone country, disaster-prone country, though there is a announcement that we are going to become the middle-income country, or lower middle-income country, but there are and currently there are 34% people living under poverty line, and more than 15% people are living under extreme poverty line. And those who are poverty and those who are poor, women is the worst section of that particular community. Therefore, for creating or identifying lasting solution for the dignified livelihood of our women, so Hanna's research and this sort of research will help us more to identify new pathways for our future. So thank you very much for everything. Thank you, Mosharrof bhai.
Thank you, Noyan bhai. I hope that we will work together on more, and we will get Hanna again, and also scholars and researchers like Hanna from the University of Edinburgh in near future. So now may I request our associate entrepreneur and lead consultant and founder of triskelever, Mohsina Ashraf, who has been interviewed by Hanna Geary during her research a lot. So I hope she will have some thoughtful speech among us. Over to Mohsina Ashraf. Hello. Mohsina, are you there? Sorry. Anyhow, I think we lost Mohsina if she joins. So, okay. So as time is very short, so now I think we may request our resource person and honorable researcher who has lots of works, and he is not to be just a speaker here because he is a qualified researcher, a scholar, and a resource of our country. So Dr. Abul Hossain, sir, may I request you just to tell us about some insights and your observation and your guidance for our future design of our program like this, what we have done today. Sir, Abul Hossain, sir.
Hi, Hanna. Good afternoon. And nice to see you here. In fact, I was waiting for you. In fact, I heard your name many times from Mosharrof. That is one thing. And I had a session with the field researchers and had a talk about the methodology once. That was, I think, fine. And the questions the participants here are very keen. I think they raised the very vital questions in front of you. It was difficult for you to answer all these questions, in fact. That was the reality. But the thing is, from my part, I want to highlight your one point you raised, that you need to read others researchers' work. That was very important. But language barrier is very important here. Is really in our Bengali, the homogeneous community. So it's a big problem, the language. So I would suggest to Mosharrof and your some vital research review, I think, make them in Bangla, and in a group discussions need to discuss the review of the researches, vital researches, not the big one. If you give the book, that was very difficult here. So for your information, I am telling you, you may know him, David Lewis of London School of Economics, Social Policy. He's an anthropologist. David Lewis and me, in fact, did many works here in Bangladesh relating to mainly the power structure, local power structure like these things. And you can find this in if you just David Lewis and Abul Hossain, I think. You can get these things, in fact. The questions here raised, that was $1 million questions, the women liberation. There were very big questions here. It's not, there is no tentative answer. In fact, in our research, there was a 2004 and 5, there was one research here. There was local power structure. And after 10 years, we revisited that also. So we found the shrinking of civil society, shrinking of voices in the Bangladesh context. So women liberation is, quality education is obviously, you mentioned that thing, is important. And also a kind of rise of civil society again, the grassroots level, women voice, these are very important. Regarding that very women entrepreneurs in Bangladesh, before you starting, I was also talking, during the COVID time, in fact, the income level of all classes, except that very, a few big classes, are going down, in fact. The small entrepreneurs are suffering a lot because they cannot sell their products. So these are many barriers relating to, the microcredit, that was also important. So the two things I am highlighting, and you are very, I think, answered all the questions, many questions, in fact. But I am very impressed. They have one ability, the participants here, to raise the good question. That was a good thing, in fact. So I'm very impressed also with total participants and your voice, all these things. We are here. I'm a sociology professor in Green University, one university. Delwar is also on that institutions. We have research experience and all these things. But I think any support for Mosharrof's and eSheBee, we can provide from our parts. So it's always the, learning by doing. Every day we are learning, and every day we have to work. But the thing is, the good teams are working here. That's all, I think. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, Dr. Abul Hossain. So if you allow, just Mohsina Ashraf was left due to technical problems. So we may just listen to her even after you're speaking. Mohsina, very short, because we have only 1 minute. So can you just express your opinion in short?
Okay, just to say in short, thank you, Hanna, for helping our fellow to know from your experience. And I'm very much pleased seeing the eagerness and keenness of the fellow researchers. They want to improve, they want to work, and they want to find solution to their research. This is very good and encouraging thing, and I would like to thank you all. And just one thing I just want to emphasize, and I agree with Hanna, that's when you are in research, being focused is very important, though sometimes it is needed to have elaborated experience on talking, discussion to understand the context. But again, we need to come back to the focus point and to have a concrete findings and good research. So thank you all. I will not take much time. It is already over the time.
Thank you. Thank you. The time is over, but I would beg 3 minutes from Hanna, if you allow, because if you have time. I'll not talk a lot today, don't worry.
Sure.
So Hanna, is it emergency to leave now? Is it?
I'll give you 3 minutes, Mosharrof.
That's fine.
Okay, I did it only for learnings to our fellow. That's all. That what the time is dollar. So that, okay, I'll not tell anymore. I'll not kill your time. Just to say thank you. And not only thank you, we have a certificate for you and a crest for you. We will just send the soft copy of the certificate and the hard copy and the crest.
Mosharrof, she wants to talk 3 minutes. So give her 3 minutes.
Yes, sir. I'm taking only 3 minutes from her. So this is one thing. And another thing is, the eSheBee model is such a lucrative and it is appreciated by the different universities in Switzerland also. You have been there, Switzerland, in your childhood. We are talking about different universities, but you know that we have to create the modules, we have to take the intellectual property rights and other things. So we are thinking you as a resource person for replicating our model all over the world and in different training and workshop. So I hope that you will be able, we will seek your time. If it's possible, as a resource person, we will include you if it is possible. So this is one thing. And on the other thing, you have seen that all the fellows, I have been attached with all the Bangladeshi eSheBee families and others. So I hope that in future, we expect that you will be doing your PhD on our works again, and we will get you back to Bangladesh again. And not only PhD, the postdoctoral, we want to see you. And thank you, Hanna. And our next resource person can be Grace Mueller. You did the researches with her. So if you have chat with her, so you just tell her the message that actually how the session was here, how did you enjoy it, and how it was helpful to us. So I hope that in near future you will be talking with Grace Mueller and Paige Sisson, and also the other researcher who did research on us based on our stories, but she couldn't come here. I forgot her name. So if it's possible, she can talk about our research on us. We will be very grateful. Thank you, Hanna. Thank you. Stay safe and stay well, and keep in touch with us. And I hope that once all of the fellows will be in touch with you and they will learn from you. Thank you. I appreciate all the things you have done in Bangladesh, especially what we did during the morning walk. And you listened to me a lot, and I pressured you to talk, listen a lot to me. So you enjoyed it. I know that you have taken notes a lot. So thank you very much. So everybody, we can say hi to thank you, Abul Hossain sir and others. We will do such programs again and again. I hope that. Thank you, Hanna.
Thank you all. Yeah, it's really good to be here, and it's very exciting to hear about your work as well. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
All right.